Hey guys, here is the Samsung Galaxy S24 FE. This is the Indian retail unit which I had pre-ordered and it just got delivered yesterday. This thing is powered by the Exynos 2400E, which is a slightly downclocked version of the Exynos 2400 found in the S24 and S24 Plus. In this video, we'll test this phone's performance in detail, so we'll run some benchmarks and also play some games to see how well it performs. Now let's start with the benchmarks. First is Geekbench 6. Here we are getting a single core score of over 2000 and multi-core score of 6400, which is quite a big improvement over the S23 FE. This score puts this chip somewhere between the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2 and Gen 3. Next is 3D Mark Wildlife Extreme. Here this phone scores around 3700 points. That's almost 50% more than the S23 FE and on par with Snapdragon 8 Gen 2, but nowhere near the Snapdragon 8 Gen 3. Now this is the ray tracing test result. Here the score is almost on par with Snapdragon 8 Gen 3 and way ahead of the S23 FE and even Snapdragon 8 Gen 2. Finally AnTuTu. Here this phone scores over 1.7 million, which is extremely impressive. Again, almost 50% higher than the S23 FE. I have the 256GB model which uses UFS 4.0 type storage, and this is much faster than UFS 3.1 storage found in its 128GB variant as well as the S23 FE. So in terms of peak performance, this phone is roughly between the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2 and Gen 3, which is quite commendable. But more than peak performance, I am interested in the sustained performance as Exynos chips are known for thermal throttling. And here is the result for the CPU stress test. The first run is done in a room without air conditioning and even without a fan, with an ambient temperature of around 30 degrees Celsius, and the second run is done with the air conditioner set to 24 degrees Celsius. While the result with air conditioning is amazing, the other result is also quite good for such a powerful chip. It still retains close to 70% of its peak performance. Similarly, with the GPU stress test, again we see similar results, close to 90% stability with air conditioning and close to 70% without air conditioning. So even in terms of sustained performance, this phone does a fairly good job. Now we'll move to gaming. Starting with BGMI or PUBG, we get the option to play at 90 FPS with smooth graphics or 60 FPS with HDR graphics or 40 FPS with Ultra HDR graphics. Playing at 90 FPS, the frame rate always remains in the 80 to 90 FPS range and the game feels very smooth and responsive. If you see the CPU and GPU utilization, it's barely around 50 to 60%, so this game is nothing more than a warm-up session for this phone. I played it for half an hour and you can see that the average FPS is over 80. Next, we'll move to Call of Duty. Here we get the option to play in medium graphics at 120 FPS. I've also turned on anti-aliasing and super resolution for better visuals. This game feels so smooth and responsive, and the frame rate is comfortably over 100 FPS. I'll let this play out for some time. Alright, in the half an hour of playing this game, I played 5 matches and the average FPS was over 100, so again, great performance. Now we'll move to some more demanding games like this Asphalt Legends Unite. We are running this in high quality at 60 FPS. This game has been recently updated and now features even better visuals, making it even more demanding. So as you can see, this game looks stunning and more importantly, it plays so well on this phone. The frame rate is almost always around 60 FPS, making this game feel very smooth. After playing this game for over half an hour, the average FPS was over 55, which is extremely impressive considering how demanding this game is. Only top tier chips play this game close to 60 FPS. And now, finally one of the most demanding games of all, Genshin Impact. Again, we are playing this in the highest settings at 60 FPS. This game is obviously stunning with big expansive open world, stylized action, and a lot of elements on screen. And fortunately, even with this game, the S24 FE performs quite well. It's not able to maintain a constant 60 FPS, but the FPS never dips below 50 FPS, making it feel very smooth. After 30 minutes of playing this game, the average FPS was again close to 55 FPS, which is super impressive, but even more impressive is the fact that the device skin temperature never crossed 40 degrees Celsius. Obviously, in hotter environment, the phone's temperature will be more, but even with the current ambient temperature of 25 degrees Celsius, I've seen phones reach 45 to 46 degrees Celsius with this game, so this phone is definitely doing a good job. Okay, I am officially impressed. I wasn't expecting this phone to perform this well. I expected about 20 to 25% better results compared to the S23 FE, but didn't expect it to reach Snapdragon 8 Gen 2 and Gen 3 level gaming performance. So this is the first time I can easily recommend a phone from the FE series to performance enthusiasts and gamers, as the performance is top notch and the thermal efficiency is also pretty good. Alright, that's it for this video. Hope you enjoyed it and found it useful. Please like, comment, share and subscribe to my channel down below. Thanks for watching.